What's your emergency? He took her. Oh my God, he took her. It was a crocodile. He just dragged her under Thornton Beach. Please, she's gone. There are moments in life that redefine everything. A single, irreversible instant that rips away the comfortable illusion of safety, leaving behind only the cold, hard truth of vulnerability. We build our lives, our routines, our dreams, often forgetting the untamed power that lurks just beyond the edges of our control. We tell ourselves it won't happen to us. Not here, not now. But sometimes, in the blink of an eye, the world shifts on its axis, and the unthinkable becomes a devastating reality. Tonight, we delve into one such moment, a beautiful moonlit beach in a tropical paradise transformed into a hunting ground. A night of celebration twisted into a nightmare of unimaginable horror. This is the story of Dianna Lawton, a story that serves as a chilling, heartbreaking reminder of nature's raw, uncompromising power and the devastating cost of a single fatal misstep. What happens when the wild truly asserts itself? What do you lose when the primal world decides to take everything? You lose everything. Dianna Lawton was, by all accounts, a vibrant soul, deeply woven into the fabric of her community. At 46, she carried the wisdom of her years with a youthful exuberance that endeared her to many. Her life wasn't about grand gestures or fleeting fame. It was built on genuine connections and a quiet dedication to the people and places she loved. She wasn't just a name. She was a daughter, a friend, a confidant, a neighbor who always had a kind word or a helping hand ready. She lived in the tropical embrace of Queensland, Australia, a land of breathtaking beauty and formidable wildlife. Dianna had always been drawn to the outdoors, finding solace and joy in its vast, untamed expanses. Whether it was a bushwalk through the ancient rainforest or a quiet afternoon by the coast, she embraced the natural world around her. She understood its allure, its magic, and perhaps thought she understood its boundaries. Her profession reflected her nurturing spirit. Dianna worked in aged care, a calling that demanded immense patience, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to the well-being of others. Every day she poured her energy into caring for the elderly, listening to their stories, easing their discomfort, and bringing moments of joy into their lives. It was a role that required strength and compassion in equal measure, qualities that Dianna possessed in abundance. She built deep, meaningful relationships with her clients and their families, becoming more than just a carer. She became a trusted friend and anchor in their later years. Her bond with her friend Karen Hitchcock was equally strong. They shared a connection forged over years of laughter, shared experiences, and unwavering support. Karen was more than a friend. She was a sister by choice, a confidant who knew Dianna's heart. They celebrated milestones together, navigated challenges side by side, and found comfort in each other's presence. Their friendship was a testament to the power of human connection, a bond that felt unbreakable, a shield against the uncertainties of the world. Or so they thought. On that fateful weekend, they were celebrating. A birthday, a new chapter, another year of life. The air was thick with the humid warmth of a Queensland summer night, and the promise of good times stretched before them. They had spent the day soaking in the beauty of the Dainty, a place where ancient rainforest meets the coral sea, a landscape teeming with life, both visible and hidden. The day had been filled with sunshine, laughter, and the easy camaraderie that defines true friendship. As evening descended, a sense of relaxed contentment settled over them. They were in their element, surrounded by the natural beauty they both cherished, making memories. Little did they know, these would be the last. The predator that lurked in the shallows of Thornton Beach was no ordinary creature. It was a saltwater crocodile, Crocodilus porosus, an apex predator, and the largest living reptile on Earth. These ancient leviathans can grow to immense sizes, with males regularly exceeding 5 m 16 ft in length, and some rare individuals reaching over 7 m 23 ft. Their sheer bulk can exceed 1,000 hialus. That's over a ton of raw muscular power. Imagine a living tank covered in armored scales, built for one-purpose survival through predation. Saltwater crocodiles are native to northern Australia. Found in coastal waters, estuaries, rivers, and even far upstream in freshwater systems, their origins trace back millions of years, making them living relics of a prehistoric era. They are incredibly adaptable, capable of surviving in both freshwater and saltwater, hence their name. This adaptability means they can be found in unexpected places, from the open ocean to bybongs deep within the rainforest. Their presence in the DNR region is not just common, it's a fundamental part of the ecosystem. Their behavior is driven by instinct and opportunity. Saltwater crocodiles are ambushed, predators, masters of stealth. They spend much of their time submerged, often with only their eyes and nostrils visible above the water, patiently waiting for prey to come within striking distance. They possess an incredibly powerful bite, the strongest of any animal capable of crushing bone with ease. Once they clamp down, they employ a technique known as the death roll, spinning their victim to disorient and dismember them. They are territorial, intelligent, and possess an uncanny ability to perceive vibrations in the water, making them incredibly effective hunters, especially in low-light conditions. And the warnings, they are everywhere. Throughout North Queensland, signs are prominently displayed in multiple languages, depicting the unmistakable silhouette of a crocodile in stark messages. Beware crocodiles. Crocodile habitat. Swimming not recommended. Local authorities, park rangers, and tourism bodies tirelessly educate visitors and residents about the risks. The message is clear, unequivocal, and reinforced time and again. These waters are not safe for swimming. The Dantry, for all its beauty, is crocodile country. These aren't playful creatures. They are efficient, patient killers. Ignoring these warnings isn't just a risk. It's a gamble with your life. One that has tragically been lost before. And on this night, that gamble would play out with devastating consequences. The Daintree region thrives on its wild, untamed reputation. But with that comes an inherent danger, one that local authorities tirelessly attempt to mitigate through education and clear warnings. The signs at Thornton Beach were not subtle. They weren't tucked away or easily missed. They were large, bold, and strategically placed, screaming danger to anyone who approached the W's edge. Yet tragically, these warnings were on that particular night disregarded. It wasn't an isolated incident either. A sudden, unexpected appearance of a rogue animal. There had been prior sightings, reports of crocodiles in the estuary systems and even along the beaches of the Daintree. Local rangers constantly monitored these areas, relocating aggressive individuals when possible. But the sheer scale of the wilderness meant constant vigilance was paramount. There were whispers in the community stories of close calls of fishermen, seeing eyes glinting in the dark of dogs disappearing from the water's edge. Each tale a silent warning, a testament to the ever-present threat. The breakdown of safety wasn't due to a lack of effort from authorities, but rather a lapse in judgment on the part of those who entered the water. The celebratory mood, the alcohol, the warm tropical night all contributed to a diminished sense of caution. It's a classic human error. The belief that it won't happen to me, that the rules apply to others, but not to us. Not in this moment of joy. The ocean, deceptively calm and inviting under the moonlight, became an open invitation to a hidden danger. There's a subtle dance between human activity and wildlife in these areas. Usually, crocodiles avoid human contact, but when their territory is encroached upon, especially during feeding times, or when they perceive a threat, their instincts take over. The decision to enter waist-deep water in a known crocodile habitat late at night in an unpatrolled area was an accumulation of ignored warnings, both explicit and implicit. It was a perfect storm of environmental factors and human miscalculation, and the stage was set for tragedy. Sunday, January 29, 2017, 1000 p.m. The air was thick with the humid scent of the Daintree rainforest, mingling with the salt tang of the coral sea. A gentle breeze rustled the palm fronds, a soothing counterpoint to the quiet murmur of conversation from Dianna Lawton and Karen Hitchcock. They had been celebrating a birthday, perhaps. The exact details now, a blurred footnote in the shadow of what was to come. Laughter still lingered in the air, a fading echo of the day's joy. The beach, Thornton Beach, stretched out before them. A long curve of pale sand bathed in the soft, ethereal glow of a waxing moon. The vast, dark expanse of the ocean beckoned deceptively calm its surface, rippling with the moon's reflection like scattered diamonds. 10:20 p.m. A decision was made, perhaps a spontaneous impulse, fueled by the warmth of the night in the relaxed atmosphere. Despite the very visible beware crocodile signs, despite the knowledge of the region's notorious inhabitants, they walked towards the water's edge. The temptation of a refreshing dip, a cool embrace after a warm day, was too strong to resist. They waded in the warm water, lapping at their ankles, then their knees. The feeling was pleasant, invigorating. They exchanged jokes, their voices carrying softly on the night air. The water crept higher, reaching their waist. They were perhaps 10-15 meters from the shore, the dark expanse of the sea stretching out before them, the land a distant, comforting line behind. 10:29 p.m. The mood was light, playful. Karen remembers Dianna laughing, a carefree sound that would soon be replaced by unimaginable terror. The water was shallow, barely waist-deep, offering a false sense of security. They were talking their backs, perhaps, to the open water, lost in the moment. The crocodile, a silent ancient hunter, had likely been watching them for some time. A massive shadow perfectly camouflaged in the dark water. It would have approached with chilling stealth, its powerful tail propelling it silently through the gentle swells. No warning ripple, no displaced current, just the slow, deliberate approach of an apex predator. 10:30 p.m. Then a sudden violent eruption. The water exploded, not a splash, but a tearing, thunderous rupture of the calm surface. A massive reptilian head, a nightmare of scaled hide and primordial teeth, surged from the depths. It was incredibly fast, impossibly powerful. Dianna had no time to scream, no time to react. The crocodile's jaws, an iron trap of bone and muscle, clamped down on her with unimaginable force. The impact was sickening, a sound that would haunt Karen forever. Karen Hitchcock, standing just inches away, was flung off balance by the sheer force of the attack. Disoriented, terrified, she instinctively reached out, desperately grabbing onto Dianna. Her fingers found purchase, clutching at her friend, trying to pull her back, to drag her away from the monstrous M that had seized her. She screamed, a primal sound of pure horror and desperation that tore through the quiet night. "Dianna, no, get away!" She shrieked, her voice raw with terror. But the crocodile was an unstoppable force. It began to pull its immense power, dragging Dianna deeper into the water. Karen held on with everything she had, her muscles straining, her feet losing purchase in the sandy bottom. The crocodile thrashed violently, a powerful twisting motion. Karen felt a searing pain as its teeth grazed her arm, a quick, brutal bite that tore at her flesh, but she barely registered it amidst the overwhelming terror. She wouldn't let go. She couldn't let go. Not yet. The beast pulled harder, the water turning into a maelstrom of white foam and dark shadows. Diana's struggles, if any, were brief. Overwhelmed by the crocodile's raw strength, Karen's grip, despite her desperate will, finally gave way. The sheer power of the death roll, designed to disorient and dismember prey, was too much. Her hands slipped, her fingers losing their purchase on Diana's clothing. Then, horrifying silence. Diana was gone, dragged beneath the surface, consumed by the churning water, by the unfathomable darkness. The monstrous shape disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving only the lapping of the waves, now sounding like a mocking whisper. Karen alone stumbled backwards, gasping for air, choking on salt water and terror. She scrambled towards the shore, sobbing uncontrollably, her arm throbbing, her mind reeling from the impossible, unspeakable horror she had just witnessed. The serene night had shattered, replaced by an empty, echoing void where her friend had just been. 10:35 p.m. Karen Hitchcock, bleeding, soaked, and utterly hysterical, stumbled onto the beach, desperately trying to flag down any sign of life. Her mind screamed for help, but her voice was a ragged whisper of sobs. She found her way back to their vehicle, fumbling with shaking hands for her phone. The 911 call, a frantic, fragmented plea for help, went out into the night. The dispatcher, accustomed to emergencies, would still have been jolted by the sheer raw terror in Karen's voice. A crocodile. Her friend gone. 10:45 p.m. Within minutes, the first police units were dispatched. The nearest officers would have had a daunting drive, the dark, winding roads of the Daintree adding to the urgency. Word spread quickly through the local emergency services network. This wasn't a car accident or a minor injury. This was a code croc, a full-scale search and rescue operation in one of Australia's most dangerous environments. The gravity of the situation was immediate and absolute. 11:15 p.m. Police cruisers' lights flashing finally arrived at Thornton Beach, their beams cutting through the oppressive darkness. The scene was eerily quiet, save for the insistent murmur of the ocean. Karen was found in shock, shivering uncontrollably. Despite the warm night, her arm clutched protectively to her chest. Paramedics immediately moved in, assessing her physical injuries, the deep lacerations from the crocodile's teeth, but more importantly, the profound psychological trauma. She could barely articulate what had happened, the words catching in her throat, strangled by fear and disbelief. He took her. She kept repeating over and over, her eyes wide with unshed tears in the lingering image of the attack. Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service, QPWS rangers, the true experts in this environment, were also unseen, their faces grim. They understood the grim reality better than anyone. A large saltwater crocodile in waist-deep water at night. The chances of survival were infinitesimally small. Their priorities shifted from rescue to recovery in the next few hours. The search operation was launched with desperate urgency. Police boats equipped with powerful spotlights began to sweep the immediate coastline. QPWS rangers, armed with their knowledge of crocodile behavior and equipped with thermal imaging cameras, began to scour the mangroves and river mouths nearby. Local volunteers, hardened by years of living in crocodile country, but still deeply shocked by the incident, joined the effort, walking the beaches, hoping against hope for a miracle. Witness accounts were primarily from Karen Hitchcock, the sole survivor whose testimony was harrowing. She recounted the suddenness of the attack, the incredible force of the animal, and her futile struggle to save her friend. Her story painted a vivid, terrifying picture of the seconds that changed everything. The silence of the night had been shattered by Dianna's scream, followed by the terrifying thrashing, then the dreadful quiet. Every detail she could provide, however painful, was crucial. The search continued through the night, a desperate vigil under the starlit sky. The air was thick with tension, the sounds of the night, the chirping insects, the distant calls of nocturnal birds, amplifying the feeling of dread. Each passing minute chipped away at any remaining hope. As the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, illuminating the pristine beach, the stark reality of the situation became clear. Dianna Lawton was not coming back. Wednesday, January 31st, 2017. 2 agonizing days had passed since the attack. The search continued relentless and grim. QPWS wildlife officers operating on the grim but necessary assumption that the crocodile was still in the vicinity had set traps. Their methods were precise, based on decades of experience tracking and managing these formidable predators. Their goal to locate, identify, and remove the responsible animal. Then a breakthrough. A large saltwater crocodile, an imposing male, was captured in a trap set near the attack site. It was immense, a true leviathan measuring an estimated 4.3 meters over 14 ft in length. This size was consistent with an animal capable of such a devastating attack. The decision was made for public safety and to confirm its involvement. The crocodile was humanely euthanized. The subsequent examination of the crocodile was grim but crucial. Inside its stomach, human remains were found. The evidence was undeniable, tragically confirming that this was the crocodile responsible for Dianna Lawton's death. The autopsy on Dianna's recovered body, conducted with painstaking detail, would confirm the cause of death as extensive trauma consistent with a crocodile attack. It provided the final heartbreaking confirmation of the horror that had unfolded on that moonlit beach. The media response was immediate and overwhelming. The story exploded. First across Australia, then internationally. Woman killed by crocodile and Daintree screamed headlines. News crews descended upon Thornton Beach, their bright lights and cameras a stark contrast to the natural beauty of the area. Dianna Lawton's name became synonymous with the tragic dangers of the Australian wilderness. There were breathless live crosses, tearful interviews with locals, and somber reports from the scene. The incident sparked a renewed national debate about crocodile management, tourist safety, and personal responsibility in hazardous environments. Legal consequences followed, albeit not in the traditional sense of criminal charges. The primary focus was on inquests and public safety reviews. The Queensland Coroner's Court would later conduct an investigation to establish the facts surrounding Dianna's death. The outcome consistently pointed to an avoidable tragedy, a result of entering dangerous waters despite clear warnings. While no individual was charged, the incident highlighted the legal and ethical responsibility of individuals to heed warning signs and the continuous effort by authorities to educate the public. Public reaction was a tumultuous mix of grief, anger, and stark reminders. There was an outpouring of sympathy for Dianna's family and for Karen Hitchcock, the traumatized survivor. But there was also a wave of criticism directed at the victims for ignoring the explicit warnings. Why would they swim there? Was a common refrain, often accompanied by frustration at what was perceived as recklessness. This led to heated discussions on social media, in news comment sections, and in local pubs. Conservation groups reiterated the importance of respecting wildlife, while tourism operators emphasized the diligence of authorities in signposting dangers. Protests weren't widespread, but there were calls from some for more extreme measures against crocodiles, particularly in popular tourist areas. These were largely countered by environmental groups and wildlife experts who stressed the ecological importance of crocodiles and the need for coexistence, emphasizing that the primary responsibility lay with human behavior. The incident also triggered internal reports within the QPWS and local government reviewing safety protocols, signage effectiveness, and public awareness campaigns. Were the warnings clear enough? Could anything more be done? The answer time and again pointed to the tragic reality. Sometimes, despite all warnings, human error prevails. The DNR, for all its majesty, had claimed another life. A chilling reminder that nature, untamed and uncompromising, always has the final say. The story of Dianna Lawton isn't just a grim statistic in a wildlife attack database. It's a profound, heartbreaking narrative about the delicate balance between human recreation and the raw, untamed power of the natural world. It serves as a stark, indelible lesson etched in the sands of Thornton Beach. We venture into the wild seeking solace adventure, or simply a moment of joy, often forgetting that we are but visitors in an ancient, unforgiving domain. The DNR rainforest, with its pristine beaches and shimmering waters, offers an unparalleled beauty. But beneath that beauty lies an ecosystem perfectly designed where every creature plays its part, and where the rules are dictated by instinct and survival, not by human desire. Dianna's death was not an act of malice by a rogue crocodile, but the tragic consequence of an encounter with an animal simply existing in its natural habitat, acting on its primal programming. The ocean, vast and inviting, holds untold wonders, but also unseen dangers. The very signs designed to protect us, born from past tragedies and hard-won knowledge, are not mere suggestions. They are warnings screamed silently by the wild itself. To disregard them is to challenge an order far older and more powerful than our own. It is to step willingly into the jaws of a world that does not compromise, does not negotiate, and does not forgive. So the next time you stand at the edge of the wild, consider the invisible lines, the unwritten rules, the ancient powers that reside just beneath the surface. For in the timeless dance between humanity and nature, the cost of forgetting who truly holds dominion can be the ultimate devastating price. And sometimes, in the quiet of a moonlit night, the most beautiful places can hold the most terrifying secrets, waiting patiently for the moment you forget the warnings.